Hi everybody out there, Kane Starkside here for another video for Disney Heroes Battle Mode. Okay, so thanks to Carriel, let me know that patch notes are finally out. And we're going to run over everything here. We're actually getting, it's a pretty good one for December. I was hoping for more like Christmas based, but I don't really know what you would do that would be Disney oriented for Christmas. Although you could have some like Christmas outfits or something. Maybe they will, but so far I'm not seeing it. So let's see. So for the month of December, as I had showed you in the data mine file video, which you can check out, we've got the 3 releases so far, and actually you're going to get 4, but I'll explain that after. They seem to be putting out 4 this month, just like they did last month with the surprise of Dr. Calico. So, first things first. The new characters that are coming out is Lightning McQueen, Piglet, and Bambi. That's pretty cool. 2 classic ones and one kind of a little bit updated. Nobody like up to date like today, but I've seen some hints of some different things that are coming up soon, which is there's going to be a bunch of different new franchises. So here we go. Let's start out here. Lightning McQueen from Disney and Pixar's Cars, Piglet from Disney's Winnie the Pooh, and Bambi from Disney's Bambi and Winter Holiday Events. Originally, Lightning McQueen was not going to be in the game when Purblue was interviewed, but guess they've changed their mind. They said they couldn't figure out how to do it, which I don't understand because I don't think it'd be that hard. It's a car, you have it run through. So we got, of course, Lightning McQueen. There's so many other ones that we'll have a chance to actually see now. That'll be kind of cool. Mater, all the other ones. Maybe some planes. You never know. Okay, Lightning McQueen is a backline damage hero on the blue team and will be available in the Battle Pass starting December 2nd. And yeah, so they really want you guys to pay for this Battle Pass, but eventually you do get stuff for free. I mean, you didn't even have to pay for Dr. Calico if you're in a good guild right now. It's in the contest. I've got lots. Okay, skills. Turbo Stampede. Lightning McQueen gains each second a certain amount of miles for every movement speed he has. Each mile increases all his normal damage skills by 1%, and he could hold up to a maximum amount of miles. McQueen revs his engine, startling a tractor to rush across the battlefield, dealing normal damage and knocking back all enemies hit. For each KO'd ally, an additional tractor appears. Miles can not be copied, stolen, or removed and reset between waves. Normal damage. Lightning Stance. Lightning McQueen strikes a dramatic pose targeting the most wanted enemy. When McQueen movement is lower than his opponent, he gains a % of movement speed and momentum stacks. When McQueen movement speed is higher, he deals normal damage and charms the enemy for a few seconds. When McQueen movement speed is equal to the opponent, he deals true damage, applies fatigue stacks, and stuns the enemy for a few seconds. Okay, wheel tease. Lightning McQueen accelerates in place, becoming invincible while doing so and gaining a % of movement speed. Any enemies who attempt to damage McQueen during the time take normal damage. If McQueen is already at maximum movement speed, he instead gains overload and ignores the % of enemy damage reduction for a few seconds. While overloaded by this skill, McQueen has the skill levels increased by a certain amount. Radiator Route. Upon reaching certain miles, Lightning McQueen provides specific buffs. The first milestone, he gains energized and precise until the end of the wave. Second would be normal crit and crit damage until the end of the wave. And third is basic attacks deal an additional normal damage against enemies with a movement speed debuff. While energized by this skill, McQueen gains extra energy each time he basic attacks. Rusty's boost. Yeah. Okay, Rusty's boost. When McQueen's about to be KO'd, he prevents it by gaining Berserk. And loses some miles per second until he reaches 0 miles. Once he reaches 0, he is KO'd. During this time, McQueen cannot gain additional miles. Turbo Stampede now grants Pierce and Drain for a few seconds. Additionally, each tractor reduces enemies' armor by % for a few seconds. Enemies who attack McQueen during wheel tees have their movement speed reduced by % for a few seconds. Okay, so charge condition is invincible is applied to one hero. Stat buff is basic damage. Lineup buff is skill power per damage ally. And energy gain for effect buff. The friendships for him are Dash and Bolt, which kind of makes sense because Lightning McQueen is fast. So Dash is fast, Bolt is fast. See, that's where I like when they actually have it make sense. And they don't have any characters for it to be like the same. So you got to expect this. But there's nothing wrong with that. I really like that. Okay. Next on to my favorite, Piglet. I was surprised that Piglet hasn't been around since we're on to what, year 7 or 8? And I've been around since day 1, so. Piglet is a midline support hero on the red team. Piglet will be available in the prize wall starting December 23rd. Oh, well, you gotta wait till a couple of days before Christmas to get Piglet. That must mean Bambi is coming first. Okay, skills. Whirl Piglet. Whenever an ally receives a stat decrease, Piglet converts a percentage of it into an opposite stat increase for a few seconds. If the ally already has a stronger version of that stat increase by a Piglet conversion, Piglet instead grants them a shield for a few seconds. Piglet takes a spoonful of fish oil and suddenly starts spinning wildly like a tornado, sending gusts of wind in all directions, increasing all allies' basic damage and skill power by a percent for a few seconds. If Piglet converted stat decrease into stat increases in the last few seconds, Piglet also applies a heal over time that heals some HP per second for a few seconds. HP shield. Piglet bounces up and down on a big red balloon that pops in a big explosion, dealing normal damage to all enemies and decreasing their basic damage and skill power by a percent for a few seconds and granting them fatigue stacks. That might be a neat animation, though. If the enemy gains any stat increases in the next few seconds, Piglet decreases that enemy normal crit and fantastic crit by a percent for a few seconds. Memory glow. Piglet flips through his memory scrapbook as glowing illustrations float upward, healing himself and all allies for some HP and then cleansing them. Piglet also increases all allies' armor and reality by a percent for a few seconds. Weird. If an ally remains affected by debuffs after cleanse, Piglet grants the ally endurance stacks. Cozy Wrap. A percent of each stat decrease Piglet applied will be permanent on the most wanted enemy. When an ally's HP falls below a percent of their max HP, percent of any stat increase conversion granted to that ally will be permanent. This effect can only happen once every few seconds. Whenever Piglet HP falls below a percent of the max HP, he becomes untargetable for a few seconds. This effect can only happen a certain number of times per wave. The stat decrease effect has a chance to fail against enemies above a certain level. Okay. And Brave Piglet. Every time a stat decrease cannot be converted to a stat increase by Piglet, the target ally gets invisible for a few seconds. This effect can only happen once every few seconds per ally. Whirl Piglet passive effects now last for a few seconds longer and also grant tenacity for a few seconds. Balloon Boing also decreases enemies' attack speed and movement speed by 1% for a few seconds. Memory Glow increases all allies' max HP by 1% for a few seconds. Then we got the Battle Badge, which isn't really... It's 10 seconds of combat if elapsed. You get Charge Condition. Stat buff is Skill Power Plus. Lineup buff, Skill Power per red ally. And effect buff, Invincibility. And his friends are Winnie the Pooh and Fear. Yeah, I can see Fear, though. Because Piglet is pretty timid. So I think that's actually pretty cool. I think for Piglet, when I finally do my video, I'm going to do both. Just to see, so you can see both the storylines, because I think it's pretty cool. I like Piglet. He's my favorite next to Eeyore. Eeyore's my nickname, actually, so. Now we're on to Bambi, who will be starting December 9th. Wow, they're making you wait a little bit. Huh. I figured it would have been at the first of the first Tuesday, like around the 2nd or something. Okay. On to Bambi. Backline support hero on the blue team. Bambi will be available in the prize wall starting December 9th. Gleeful Gallop. At the start of combat, Bambi links himself to the ally with the lowest HP. While linked, Bambi converts a percentage of damage he takes into healing for the linked ally. Bambi links to a new ally whenever the linked ally is KO'd or no longer has the lowest max HP. Wow, say that 10 times fast. Active. Bambi gains a percent of max HP increase for a few seconds and rushes to the enemy battlefield with joyful springing jumps, distracting the closest enemies for a few seconds and dealing normal damage. Distracted enemies receive fatigue stacks. Petal Whiff. Bambi smells a cluster of flowers with delight, healing all enemies for some HP. Bambi linked ally. Bambi grants a shield to the linked ally equal to the percent of their combined max HP for a few seconds. When the shield is broken or expires, Bambi grants the linked ally with endurance stacks, and all enemies take a percent of Bambi and linked allies' combined HP as max HP as normal damage. Whew, this is a lot to go through. Okay, so Brave Stance. Bambi lowers his head with a stern expression and then springs forward, dealing normal damage to the closest enemies, reducing their skill power by a percent of Bambi and the linked allies' combined skill power for a few seconds. Linked ally. Bambi increases linked allies' max HP based on the percent of damage dealt with the skill and their tenacity and evasion for a few seconds. So no wonder. Bambi and his linked allies are invincible for a few seconds after linking. Whenever the linked allies' HP falls below percent, they gain a percent of damage reduction for a few seconds. This effect can only happen a certain number of times per ally. When Bambi is about to be KO'd, he heals the linked ally for some HP and provides a percent of his max HP and skill power. If Bambi heals a hero that is already at max HP, that ally gains a percent of Bambi and his linked allies' combined max HP for a few seconds. This effect can only happen once every few seconds per ally. Gentle Landing. If Bambi has lower than a percent of HP at the start of Gleeful Gallop, he gains momentum stacks. If Bambi has more than a percent of HP, he will now distract enemies for the same duration. When the shield from Petal Whiff is broken or expires, it also now reduces enemies' armor and reality equal to a percent of Bambi's and links allies' combined armor and reality for a few seconds. Bambi gains a percent of max HP per KO'd linked ally. Okay, charge condition, 10 seconds of combat. Stat buff, max HP. Lineup is skill power per blue ally, and effect buff is heal over time. Okay, so for Bambi, we've got Duchess, And Baloo. Kind of weird. I can see Baloo more than Duchess, but we'll see what happens. Okay, now we're into the stuff of what's going to be happening for the month after I get all that out. Okay, so new Challenger season alert. This is just for like Arena and Coliseum, which is no big deal. I never even pay attention to this. I use who I got, and I always stay in the top 10, so I never worry about it. Okay, feature franchises: Wildcard, Night Before Christmas, Frozen, Winnie the Pooh, Muppets, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Fantasia, Great Mouse Detective. Really? I didn't think there was much from a Great Mouse Detective. Like Tron and all that, Wall-E. Some of these they only have one character. Meet the Robinsons. I think there's like one character. So I know there was supposed to be the other character. I can't remember his name, but the blonde-haired kid, he's supposed to be in it soon. Was actually found in some of the files. Okay, hero filtering updates. So we got some new filtering. I like this actually. This is you can now filter damage effects and stats by their source, available sources, skills, real gear, battle damage, and patch talents, sorting options. I like that. I like that the fact that they sort it by release date. So if you ever wanted to find out who was the first to be released, and that's kind of neat actually. I like that. Because I'd like to do a video soon on all the different characters that were released in this year, the last year. So stay tuned for that one. Okay, so filtering options for front, mid, and back, and show heroes who deal only one type of damage. Patch talents tab. Filtering patch talents. New how to play page with all patch talents in their descriptions. That's kind of cool. Favorites filter can now be combined with any other filter. Heroes' names are now sorted by the name shown on a hero's page. Okay, Aurora is now sorted under A instead of P. Sapphire is the new rarity that is coming up, so stay tuned for that. 2 new mods will be launched alongside Sapphire. Mods will include new effects, revamped old ones, and most importantly, new stats. Every time they revamp something, I find it just makes it weaker. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. And I'm not complaining. I'm actually happy with this month's characters. Really like it. 2 new stats will be added to every hero with the release of Sapphire. For the time being, stats will only be able to increase by equipping the new mods. And Invasion. Well and beloved game mode that will see some significant changes and improvements with the Sapphire rank. Invasion is so just, I don't know. I'm not I do them, but I'm just kind of, if they got a good prize at the end, like a border or something, I'll do them. And most notably, the guild boss will see some new improvements from a diverse selection of new and updated mechanics. Each fight will feel different and unique. Yeah. Probably they're going to probably triple or quadruple the difficulty, as they have done. Sorry this video is so long. I'm just going over everything. Furthermore, cooperation taking down each guild boss will heavily incented and rewarded. However, long-time Invasion veterans can rest assured that options to maintain old mechanics will be granted to players that just want that good old grind. Okay, so these are the changes with the Sapphire rarity. It's not being released yet. Probably, I think, January. Now, blanket of snows roll in. Of course, you always get your snow. So you get your Wintry Weekend Challenge trials right up to January. And then midway through the month, an expected visitor arrives. Darwin from GeForce. Limited time crate makes its debut. Keep an eye out for Darwin. Anyone wondering who Darwin is? Here he is. That's going to be cool, which opens up a lot more stuff for us to see. That's kind of cool. There you go. So now you've seen what Darwin looks like, in case you didn't remember. I remember that definitely. Let's see. Then the celebration truly gets underway on December 22nd as the 12 days of giveaways begins. Daily gifts for every player as we count down to the new year. And then 24th brings the mischievous Bah Humbug trials, leading to special New Year trial. See, the problem with these trials is you have to be pretty well maxed out. So if you're a new player, you have no chance at any of these. Like, my stats are pretty good, and I can't even touch them, a lot of them. And it says, don't warm up too quickly. The coldest challenge arrives after the calendar flips. On January 5th, the Stay Frosty invasion storms in the city. So, and one last winter showdown before the snow melts. All month long, you look forward to rotating boosts, which is normal. Winter arrives soon. Prepare your teams. Yes, improvements and changes. They're going to rebalance. See, this is what I find funny. They're going to rebalance Scat Cat, Carol the Robot, Franny. These are all new characters. Why would you need to rebalance them? Rebalance some of the old ones. Change Anxiety's Quizzical friendship disc to avoid bugs where anxiety becomes unkillable. Okay. So fix the crash when using Carl the Robot. Yeah, I've had that happen a few times. And let's see. So a review on this. Okay, so Lightning McQueen is the Battle Pass hero. Ernesto Cruz becomes the next arena challenger. Calico becomes the Coliseum. So, I mean, Dr. Calico, you don't have to pay any money for him at all. Like, he's really easy. I've got so much for him now. Cost me nothing. Marie, of course, becomes the contest ranked hero. Nui is added the VIP crate. Embarrassment enters the Coliseum crate. Envy Arena, Abby Mallard City Watch crate. Giselle, Carl the Robot, and Samia enter the Diamond crates. For anybody that doesn't have them yet. Headless Horseman enters the Guild crate. See? Guild crate. Headless Horseman is so easy to get. Emily Blight and Gazelle enter the War Shop. That's easy. Like I said, December 9th, Bambi is prize wall. And Darwin is going to be an event exclusive hero. So they're probably going to either put it in a crate or have it in one of the contests. And Piglet enters a prize wall. And that's pretty much it. New server update will be the day after my birthday. Tuesday, December 2nd. My birthday is December 1st. So at least I get Piglet in the month of December. That's awesome. And that's the end of this video. And thanks to everybody for watching all these videos here. Really appreciate it. I enjoy doing them. I have a couple of different videos I got to do soon. Because I didn't do Ernesto and I didn't do Marie yet. I've got them all unlocked. Just didn't do them yet. I wanted to get Marie up as high as I could. And I got the last of her whatever you want to call them, chips or whatever. So I'll do that video soon. Okay, so that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching all these videos. Feel free to like the video and subscribe to my channel for lots more Disney Heroes Battle Mode. Till next time, happy tapping because this is the way.